Confused by stocks versus bonds? Here's the simple truth you need to know. Have you ever sat down with your morning coffee, glanced at the news, and seen the words Dow drops 300 points or bond yields rise and felt that familiar sinking feeling? Maybe you nod along like you understand what it all means, but deep down, there's a voice that whispers, I probably should know more about this. Don't worry. You're not alone. Whether you're 35 or 55, it's never too late to understand how your money can work for you. And truth be told, investing doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's not about memorizing fancy terms or predicting the future. It's about understanding the basics, and when it comes to investing, it often starts with two big words, stocks and bonds. Now, maybe you've heard people say things like, stocks are risky, or bonds are safe, but what do those really mean? What's the difference between the two? And more importantly, how do they fit into your financial journey, whether you're planning for retirement, saving for your kids' education, or just trying to grow your money steadily over time? In this video, we're going to gently walk through the world of stocks and bonds, what they are, how they work, and why understanding them is key to building your financial confidence. We'll use simple language, real-life examples, and maybe even a few personal stories that might sound a lot like your own. This isn't a finance class, it's a friendly chat, just like the ones you'd have with a good friend over dinner. So let's start with something simple. Imagine you're helping a friend start a small business, let's say a cozy little bakery downtown. You believe in their dream. Now, they need money to get it off the ground. You've got two options. One, you could buy a share in the bakery. That means you own a piece of it. If the bakery does well, great. You earn a portion of the profits. But if it struggles, your investment might lose value too. That's kind of like buying a stock. Now, the second option? Your friend says, how about I borrow the money from you and pay it back in a few years, with some interest? You're not owning a piece of the bakery, but you're acting like a lender. You'll get your money back, hopefully with a little extra. That's similar to buying a bond. That, in its simplest form, is the difference between a stock and a bond. Stocks represent ownership. Bonds represent a loan. Both are ways to invest, but they behave very differently, and understanding that difference can really shape how you choose to grow and protect your money. Let's stick with that bakery example for a moment. Say business booms. People love the croissants. The place is packed every weekend. As a stockholder, that's fantastic news. Your share of the bakery is now worth more. Maybe you even get a little dividend, a portion of the profits shared with owners. But if a new cafe opens next door and the customers start to disappear, well, your shares might drop in value. That's the roller coaster ride of stocks. They rise and fall depending on how the business performs and how people feel about the business's future. On the other hand, if you had bought a bond, meaning you loaned money to your friend, your ride might be a bit smoother. Unless something really drastic happens, like the bakery going bankrupt, you're likely to get your agreed-upon payments on time. No sudden ups and downs based on daily moods or headlines. Bonds are usually considered safer because they're about lending, not owning, but they also tend to grow your money more slowly. So let's bring this back to your world. Let's say you've just turned 45 and you're starting to take your finances more seriously. Maybe retirement is 15 or 20 years away, or maybe you're just thinking about building a more stable future. Understanding the balance between risk and reward is huge here, and that's where stocks and bonds come in. Stocks can help your money grow faster over time, but they come with more bumps along the way. Bonds are steadier, but they won't make your savings skyrocket. Think of it like driving on a highway versus a country road. One is fast but can be nerve-wracking. The other is slow and steady, but it'll still get you there, just at a different pace. And that's where a lot of people start to feel stuck. They wonder, should I invest in stocks or bonds? But here's the truth, it's not about picking one or the other. It's about understanding the mix that works for you. Because your life isn't just numbers on a page. It's birthdays, anniversaries, unexpected car repairs, and dreams of a little beachside home one day. Your money should reflect your life, not just the market. But let's be real. Sometimes people jump into investing because a friend said, "I made a killing on this stock." Or they panic sell their shares the moment the news says the market is down. It's easy to get caught up in emotion when you don't really understand what you're holding and why. That's why the foundation matters. That's why we're taking the time to break this down, not to impress anyone, but to give you the clarity to make decisions that feel right for you. Not just what's trending. Not just what some YouTuber shouted about. But real choices for your real life. And once you start to see stocks and bonds not as mysterious financial products, but as tools that can help you build the kind of life you want, the fear starts to fade. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know enough to move forward with confidence. Now that you have a clear picture of what stocks and bonds truly represent, ownership versus lending, risk versus stability, let's dig a little deeper into how they behave in real-life situations. Because how they perform isn't just about definitions, it's about emotions, timing, and how these two work together in your financial journey. Let's say you've just landed a better paying job or maybe paid off your car loan. You've got a little more breathing room now, and you're thinking, okay, what's the smart thing to do with this extra money? This is where knowing how stocks and bonds behave in different seasons of life and the economy really matters. Think back to 2020 or even 2008. The stock market felt like a wild roller coaster. One day it's up, the next it's plunging. If you owned stocks during those times, it probably didn't feel good watching your account drop. But if you didn't panic, if you held on chances, or you saw things recover. That's because the stock market, while unpredictable in the short term, has historically grown over time. That's one of the most powerful things about stocks. They can help grow your wealth, especially if you have time on your side. But time is the key word. If you're planning to retire next year or need that money in the short term, those wild swings might not be something you want to ride out. You might want something steadier, and that's where bonds can be your best friend. Imagine the economy as a big tide. When it rises, businesses thrive, stock prices tend to go up, and investors get excited. But when the tide pulls back, maybe because of inflation, interest rate hikes, or global uncertainty, the excitement fades, and people get nervous. During those uncertain times, bonds often shine. Why? Because they provide predictable income. You know what to expect. They're not immune to risk, but they're usually less dramatic than stocks. Let's make this even more relatable. Think about your own life, your income, your expenses, your dreams. Maybe you've got 2 kids you'd like to help through college. Maybe you're hoping to retire early and start a small business of your own. These goals all happen on different timelines, and each one has a different level of urgency. That's how your investments should be too, a mix of fast and steady, now and later. Picture it like building a house. Stocks are like the scaffolding and beams, they're the growth, the expansion, the ambition. Bonds are like the concrete foundation, steady, grounded, reliable. You wouldn't want to build your dream house without a solid base, right? But you also don't want to pour a foundation and then never build anything on top. It takes both. Let me tell you about a friend of mine, let's call her Lisa. She's 42, a working mom with 2 teenagers and a husband who's a firefighter. A few years ago, she got a small inheritance and decided she wanted to be smart about investing it. At first, she thought she needed to pick just one thing, go all in on stocks or play it safe with bonds. But when we talked, she realized that it didn't have to be either or. She could split the money based on her goals. So she put part of it in a diversified stock fund, something that could grow over 10 or 15 years, maybe help fund a comfortable retirement. And another part went into bonds, to provide stability and a sense of security. That mix gave her peace of mind, and more importantly, it gave her a plan. That's something I want to encourage you to do too. Start thinking in terms of your life, not the headlines. What do you need your money to do and when? Because once you answer that, the choice between stocks and bonds becomes a lot clearer. It stops being about guessing the market and starts being about supporting your real life. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but how do I actually buy these things? The good news is, you don't need to be a stock-picking genius or a bond market expert. These days, there are mutual funds and ETFs, exchange-traded funds, that bundle stocks, bonds, or a mix of both. That means you can invest in a little bit of everything without needing to read company reports or track interest rates every day. It's like ordering the sampler platter instead of picking just one dish. And while we're at it, let's talk about one more important piece: emotion. Investing isn't just numbers. It's personal. It's tied to your hopes, your fears, your sense of safety. And that's why having both stocks and bonds in the right balance for you can help you sleep better at night. Because you're not betting everything on one horse. You're spreading it out, giving yourself a better chance of growing your money without losing your peace of mind. Over time, that peace becomes more valuable than any flashy return. Because the goal isn't just to be rich on paper. The goal is to feel secure, to know you're on a path that supports your dreams and protects your family. That's the real power of understanding the difference between stocks and bonds. It's not just about money. It's about building a life that feels stable and full of possibility. And here's something else to consider: your mix of stocks and bonds doesn't have to stay the same forever. It can change as you change. Maybe in your 30s or 40s, you lean more into growth with stocks. But as you approach your 50s or 60s, you might shift gradually into more bonds. It's like adjusting your sails as the wind changes. You're still moving forward, just with more control and intention. See, investing isn't a sprint. It's more like a long walk through changing weather. And the more you understand the tools you're carrying, the more comfortable you'll feel navigating whatever comes next. So now that we've talked about how stocks and bonds behave in the market and in your own life, let's bring it all together. In the next part of our conversation, we'll look at how to create your personal investing mix and make decisions that support your long-term peace of mind. Absolutely. Here's section 3 of the YouTube video script. This part brings everything together with a relatable and motivating close. It continues the natural flow, ends on a heartfelt and empowering note, and runs about 1,000 words. Let's take a breath for a moment. You've already taken in a lot more than most people ever do when it comes to investing. And you're still here, still listening, still curious. That says something powerful about you. It means you care about your future, your family, your peace of mind. And honestly, that's the best foundation you could ever have when it comes to making smart money decisions. So now the big question becomes, what do I actually do with this knowledge? Because knowing what stocks and bonds are is one thing. Putting that knowledge into action, that's where real change begins. Let's go back to your life, not the market. Because when you invest, it's not about beating the system. It's not about winning some invisible race. It's about crafting a path that feels right for you. So take a look at your life right now. Are you someone in your early 40s trying to rebuild after a tough few years? Are you 50 and finally feeling like you can breathe a little financially? Or maybe you're somewhere in between, still juggling family, work, and what feels like a never-ending list of expenses. Wherever you are, you don't need to have it all figured out to start. You just need a direction. One small, thoughtful step. Maybe that's sitting down with your partner to talk about retirement. Maybe it's opening your first investment account. Maybe it's simply shifting a bit of your savings into something that grows. And here's the thing: you don't need to choose perfectly. That fear of getting it wrong holds so many people back. But investing isn't a one-time decision. It's a process. It's a relationship that grows and changes as you do. You can make adjustments. You can learn along the way. The most important thing is that you start. Let's say you begin by setting aside a small monthly amount, maybe just what you'd normally spend on takeout. You put half into a broad-based stock fund and half into a bond fund. That alone is a powerful beginning. Because you're not just saving, you're investing. You're giving your money a job. You're saying, I want you to grow. I want you to support me later. And over time, even modest amounts can become something meaningful. Think about compound growth, the idea that money builds on itself over time. That $100 you put in today doesn't just sit there. If invested wisely, it earns a little bit. Then next year, it earns a little more on top of that. And before long, it's doing more work than you ever imagined. But the secret to compound growth isn't brilliance. It's consistency. It's time. That's why the earlier you start, even just a little, the better. And if you're thinking, but I'm already in my 40s or 50s, is it too late? Absolutely not. There's a saying in investing, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. You're not late. You're right on time. And just like we've talked about, you don't have to go all in on stocks or all in on bonds. You can create a mix. Maybe 60% stocks and 40% bonds if you still have a good number of working years ahead. Or maybe 40-60 if you're closer to retirement and want more stability. The point is, your mix should match your life, not your neighbor's. Not your coworkers. Yours. Now, maybe you're someone who likes a hands-off approach. In that case, something like a target date retirement fund might work well. It automatically adjusts the balance of stocks and bonds based on your age. You set it and forget it, and it moves with you. Or maybe you enjoy learning and want to be more involved, picking your own funds, checking in every few months. Either way is okay. The right way is your way. And if all this still feels a little overwhelming, don't be afraid to talk to someone. A good financial advisor, not someone trying to sell you something, but someone who listens, can help you create a plan that works for your unique situation. Because sometimes, just having someone walk beside you can make all the difference. But no matter what path you choose, remember this: investing isn't about getting rich quick. It's not about being perfect. It's about building a future, one that feels stable, fulfilling, and truly yours. Stocks and bonds aren't just pieces of a portfolio. They're building blocks of your freedom, your security, your peace of mind. You've come this far, and that's something to be proud of. So many people never take the time to learn, to ask questions, to even begin. But you did. And that puts you ahead. That gives you an edge that's more powerful than any market prediction, the edge of clarity, confidence, and action. So here's what I want you to do now. Take one small step today. Maybe you write down your top 3 financial goals. Maybe you look at your current savings and ask yourself, is this growing the way I want it to? Or maybe you just talk to someone you trust about what you learned today. Whatever it is, take that step. You've got momentum now. Keep it going. And if this video helped you feel even just a little more confident, I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments, maybe what surprised you, or what step you're planning to take. Your story might inspire someone else to begin their journey too. And of course, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got so many more conversations like this coming, ones that make finance feel less intimidating and more like a tool you can actually use. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about money. It's about freedom. It's about feeling secure. It's about building a life that reflects your values, your priorities, your dreams. And you're more than capable of doing that. So here's to your next step. Here's to growth, steady, thoughtful, and strong. Wishing you a future that's not just successful, but meaningful. One decision at a time.